In less than 2 hours, we're talking 8:30, history will be made at Kennedy Space Center. That, of course, is where Space Shuttle Atlantis will be lifting off. And I'm so glad you are joining us again, former astronaut.
Good to be here again.
Thanks for joining us, Ed Gibson. And you and I talked about this the last time the shuttle blasted off. It was a historic trip. This one is even more historic. This is the end of an era. The Space Shuttle, NASA will not lift off any more shuttles. How do you feel this morning?
Well, it's not only the end of the shuttle era, but it's also the end of the human spaceflight era in the United States. 50 years since President Kennedy initiated our program by commitment to go to the moon. And since then, many things have changed. Back in those days, what made it successful was a vision and a commitment. Then also, what really makes it successful is determination and persistence. And that we don't see so much anymore today. To get to our own space station, which we initiated and invested $100 billion in, we now depend upon the Russians for $63 million a seat.
Well, I've been following Space Shuttle Atlantis on Twitter. They are on Twitter. They've been sending out tweets. One said up and away. They got the go-ahead. The weather was not going to be a factor. Social media playing a big role. We have opened up questions on our Facebook page for you. One of our viewers writes, why is this launch our last launch?
Well, it was scheduled to be not the last launch. We were supposed to have the Constellation program come in right after this and pick up where the shuttle left off. But unfortunately, even though it started in the previous administration, they did not properly fund it. So it stretched the program out, and it cost more and was delayed.
I'm going to get another question in. What do astronauts do right before liftoff?
Go through their checklist a few more times.
Okay, and you can finish, were you finished with the first part of that question?
Well, the other part of it is that the Constellation program then, when the current administration came in, they saw it was over budget and over scheduled, so they canceled it. So it was a 1-2 punch, and we can't do that anymore. We start a program, we've got to have the vision and commitment, of course, but the determination and persistence to follow it through. And that's so true in everything you do, but certainly in the space program.
And all morning, meteorologist Amber Solens has been keeping her eye on the skies. Why is weather such a big factor?
Well, for this flight, well, for all of the shuttle flights, they want to be able to follow on the pad all the way up for about 20 miles for range safety, so they know if they have a problem when they're coming back. And also the shuttle can come back in and land visually. Also, then you've got all the overseas abort areas, which have to have good weather as well. Okay, and our final Facebook question, what kind of therapy do you receive once you return from space? Well, your kids and your family take care of that. That's pretty much the therapy you get.
TLC, a lot of that.
That's right. Well, yes. Or why don't you take out the garbage?
Yeah, exactly. Back to work.
Back to
reality. Ed Gibson, former astronaut, it is always a pleasure having you with us. We know you will be watching today. As a Space Coast kid myself, I will be watching as well. And of course, we will bring it to you live here on ABC 15.